I didn't raise my voice, nor did I throw anything. I didn't even inquire about her reasons. I simply walked away. Perhaps that was what troubled her the most, my refusal to engage in the confrontation she anticipated. By choosing silence over conflict, I took control of the narrative. I didn't demand explanations. Instead, I made it easy for her to be with the man she had already chosen. The next morning, I filed for divorce, relocated to a new city, and started anew. For an entire year, I never looked back, feeling both the weight of loss and a strange sense of liberation. Then, unexpectedly, she appeared at my door. Her eyes were brimming with regret, filled with emotions I never thought I would see in her: vulnerability, remorse, and a hint of desperation. She whispered words that echoed in my mind. I made a mistake. The thing about mistakes is that they always come with consequences, rippling through lives in ways that can't be undone. Our relationship had its flaws, but I believed it was solid. We shared 6 years together, 3 of those years as husband and wife. I never doubted her loyalty. I assumed it was unwavering, built on a foundation of mutual respect and admiration. She was ambitious, always striving for the next step in her career, and I supported her wholeheartedly, celebrating her successes without feeling insecure. I believed in us, and I believed in her dreams. When she received a promotion, it brought new responsibilities, longer hours, and frequent work trips. I was genuinely happy for her, even proud of her achievements. I told myself that the changes were normal, that the distance between us was just a temporary phase in our lives. However, small signs began to accumulate. Things I tried to dismiss but couldn't ignore. The way she smiled at her phone without sharing the joke, the sudden late-night work dinners, and her defensiveness when I asked too many questions. I wasn't searching for reasons to mistrust her, yet doubts crept into my mind like shadows at dusk. I vividly recall the night everything shifted. She came home, her scent laced with an expensive cologne that wasn't mine. When I asked about it, she laughed it off, attributing it to a new office perfume. I wanted to trust her, to believe in the love we had built together, but an unsettling feeling in my gut urged me otherwise. Trust is a fragile thing. You often don't realize how much you have until it vanishes into thin air. The moment I began to question her was when I understood that I never wanted to be the kind of man who snooped or pried. I believed that if proof had to be sought, then the relationship was already fractured beyond repair. Yet doubt doesn't simply linger quietly. It festers, growing into something more insidious. That night, it became impossible to overlook. She had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter. Normally, I wouldn't have thought twice about it, but her hurried entry into the shower and her avoidance of my gaze felt suspicious. I tried to dismiss it as overthinking, but when I clicked on her messages, I realized I wasn't mistaken. The conversation thread bore his name, her boss. At first, the messages seemed casual, harmless even, but as I scrolled, my unease deepened. They shared inside jokes, late-night conversations, and plans to meet. It was evident that it had never been just about work. She had been careful, deleting messages when necessary. Yet she hadn't covered her tracks thoroughly enough. Then I found a message from just a few nights prior. I wish I was with you instead of going home. She sent that while I sat at the dinner table, waiting for her, convinced she was merely working late. My heart raced, but not out of anger. Instead, I felt a cold, sinking realization wash over me. She hadn't just cheated. She had moved on while I waited, clinging to a belief in something that had already dissipated. I closed the laptop and stood up, my legs heavy with the weight of betrayal. I didn't need to confront her or ask why. The messages revealed everything. She had made her choice, and now it was my turn to make mine. I packed only the essentials: clothes, my wallet, keys. No wedding photos, no mementos, just what I needed to leave and never return. As she emerged from the shower, drying her hair and humming a tune, she seemed blissfully unaware that she had lost me in a matter of minutes. I looked at her one last time, memorizing the face of the woman I once knew, then walked past her and left without a word. Some people seek explanations and closure. I needed neither. The truth lay starkly before me, and all that remained was to walk away. Leaving felt surreal. I wasn't fleeing in anger. I was simply done. The weight of everything should have overwhelmed me. But instead, I felt as if I was finally breathing again after months of suffocation. That night, I checked into a hotel, sitting on the bed, staring at the wall, processing reality of what had transpired. It didn't fully sink in until I switched off my phone. No calls, no texts, no explanations, just silence. The next morning, I filed for divorce without any dramatic confrontation, pleading, or tears. Just paperwork. I left a copy at our home with a simple note. You made your choice. Here's mine. In the weeks that followed, I expected to feel regret, second thoughts, or loneliness, but instead, I felt relief. There were no more excuses, no more doubts, no more sleepless nights questioning my perceptions. I moved to a new city, started fresh, found an apartment, focused on work, and hit the gym. For the first time in years, my life was my own again, and slowly, I began to rediscover myself. Meanwhile, I heard whispers about her. She and her boss didn't last. Office rumors spread quickly. It turned out she wasn't the first woman he had pursued, nor would she be the last. The life she believed was an upgrade didn't unfold as planned, and when it all collapsed, she sought out the man she had betrayed, unaware that he no longer existed. A year passed, a year of silence, rebuilding, and moving forward. I hadn't thought of her in months, not in the way I once did. She was merely a part of my past, a closed chapter in a book I no longer reread. Then one evening, as I stepped out of my apartment, there she was, standing on the sidewalk, unsure and nervous, as if hesitant about her presence. For a moment, I thought I was imagining her. "Hey, I've been trying to find you," she said, her voice quiet and tentative. I remained silent, watching as she fidgeted, gripping her purse strap as if it were her only anchor. She looked different, not as time alters appearances, but as regret gnaws at a person's spirit. Her confidence had vanished. The arrogance that once defined her was gone, leaving only the weight of what she had lost. "I just wanted to talk," she said, her voice trembling. "I know I don't deserve that, but I needed to see you." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, allowing her to speak, letting the silence stretch between us, heavy with unspoken words. "I made a mistake," she confessed, her voice breaking under the strain of her emotions. I don't know what I thought, but I know I ruined everything, and I live with that every day." Her words were raw, perhaps even honest, but honesty couldn't erase her actions. She wasn't here out of love. She was here because he didn't want her. "Why now?" I asked, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil within me. "Because your new life didn't work out," she flinched, unable to deny the truth of her statement. I just realized too late what I had. I nodded, more to myself than to her. "Yeah, you did." For a fleeting moment, she looked as though she wanted to reach out to me, as if she believed there was still a chance for us. But betrayal doesn't merely fracture trust. It extinguishes whatever love remains. She had made her choice long ago, just as I had made mine. "Take care of yourself, Emily," I said, stepping back inside and closing the door. I stood there for a moment, my hand resting on the doorknob, listening to the silence beyond. No knocking, no last-minute pleas, just footsteps fading into the night. And that was it. No dramatic finale, no final argument, no desperate request for another opportunity, just closure. Not because she granted it, but because I had already found it within myself. She hadn't returned because she loved me. She came back because she lost what she thought she had with someone else. Most people don't want to admit that if her new life had succeeded, she wouldn't have searched for me or stood at my door filled with regret. I wasn't her backup plan or safety net. I wouldn't be the man she settled for when her first choice didn't reciprocate. I walked to my window and watched as she disappeared down the street, shoulders slumped, head bowed, burdened by her choices. For the first time in a long while, I felt an unexpected emotion, peace. People don't regret cheating. They regret getting caught, losing stability, and facing the repercussions. They don't truly regret their choices made in the moment. She didn't come back because she missed me. She returned because she longed for the version of herself that felt secure in my love, a version that no longer existed. That's why one should never take them back. Some mistakes can be fixed, while others must be lived with. As I close this chapter for good, I realized the best revenge isn't anger or even success. It's demonstrating that their absence made no difference in your life at all.